Hello, everybody. I think I have to shuffle my board over just a little bit. All right, we're going to get my iPad on. Get everything a-going. You can see my reflection. You poor things. All right, let's see. Push up a little bit. All right, I think we're doing pretty good. I feel like, let's see what we can do. Trying to get everything all put into place. Alrighty. Well, I hope everybody is having a fantastic this is Tuesday. Usually I don't go live on Tuesdays. I've had a little bit of a scheduling snafu this month where I accidentally picked a day I'm not available. And so I was like, oh, we got to find a new day. And I kind of had to find one quick for y'all. So I settled on today. And I thought, you know what, we'll do a Tuesday. We'll see if it works. Maybe we'll get more people that maybe usually can't join on a Wednesday. Just serve for something a little bit different. But thank you all so much for tuning in. If you could drop a quick comment just to say hello so I know that you're here and that you're watching, that would be amazing. We're no Copic marker coloring tonight. It's all going to be inks, and I'm actually going to do a little bit of sprays. And I thought that would be a really fun, different thing for us to do together. So let's get into what I've got prepared. Hello, Kathy. I hope you're having a wonderful Tuesday night. I have gone ahead and I have die cut a couple of the shapes from the Mouse Apples Halloween add-on dies, and then the Mouse Apple die set as well. So the stick and the apple itself come from the Mouse Apple set, and then I have the Halloween set gave us the different sorcerer add-ons. So we're going to be using those. I'm going to make just a magical card that's sort of based off of this die when it's all put together. But we're going to be doing a little bit of fun spraying techniques for our background. I also am getting over a cough. So if I cough during my Facebook Live, I promise I'm okay. Just the process of getting over everything. Cough has just been around a little bit longer than I care to admit. So, see, there we go. We're getting there, though. But I do have my water, so I might take a couple more water breaks than usual. But let's go ahead and get into it. Kathy wants to know how big the apple die is. So I can tell you once everything is put together, but the base die itself, this is going to be about 3 1/4 inches tall. And I would say a little over 2 3/4 inches wide, probably closer to 2 7/8 inches wide when you take everything into account. But we can also, once I get everything put together, get a better idea of what the total measurement is. But this is a nice size die. It fits in the palm of my hand, but it takes up a nice chunk of it. Definitely a really nice sized product to have. So let's get into, first, let's do a little bit of background creating. So I've got my splatter box ready because we're going to be doing a lot of the splattering tonight. And I'm going to go ahead, open this up. I've got a piece of paper towel in here already. And what I like to start with is I have some distressed watercolor cardstock. And I use this because it works really nicely when you're using different distress sprays. So I'm going to put this in my box. And I would like this to kind of stay up. So let's see if it'll not flip over on me. So, all right. So what I'm going to do first, you can kind of get an idea what colors we're going to be using based off of the background of my paper towel. And I'm going to grab a clean paper towel to put off to the side that I intend on using as we create. So I'm going to put that right here. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is I do have my distress sprayer, and I'm going to utilize this to essentially complete coverage spray water onto this panel. Because I'm using a watercolor cardstock, This paper is really good at working with lots of water on top of it, and that's gonna help us with our spray. So I'm gonna start with some Salty Ocean Distress Spray Stain, and I'm just gonna spray a little bit onto our panel. And I can always go back and add more, but we're gonna just start with that. And then we're gonna work with a little bit of Candied Apple. And I'm just realizing I'm gonna have to go into my kitchen to grab my Misty Precision Glue Press in a minute, but we're not there yet. So this is Candied Apple, and I'm going in with this and kind of filling in some gaps. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my clean paper towel and I'm gonna use it, mother of pearl, that darn little piece of confetti. Let's see if I can maybe get it off strategically. Oh, phooey. See, that irks me because I just tried to get it off my finger and it wouldn't fall. And now, of course, wouldn't you know it, now it's on my project. Y'all, no matter how much we try, sometimes it's just impossible to keep our craft space clean. So I'm just kind of carefully moving it off. Go away, go away. Okay. All right, so make sure that's nice and clean. And then I'm just gonna use my paper towel that I have off to the side to sort of get some of this excess spray. And I wanna get some really good coverage. And I know that there's not a lot of blue on this, so I'm gonna go in, let's add a little bit of water just to kind of help get the colors moving a little bit. And then I'm gonna take that Salty Ocean and add a little bit more. And then let's take a little bit more of the Candied Apple and just kind of deepen the areas a little bit. So you can see it really got darker with the color. I think it's really pretty. I know someone says patriotic. I promise when we're all said and done, that is not the vibes I'm going for. I'm actually trying to do my best to not make this look patriotic, just because that's not really a color motif that I want to go for when I'm not making like a 4th of July related card, just because it's like the thing where it's like, it's difficult, but you never want to use red and green together if it's going to suggest Christmas, if you're not making a Christmas card, but there are ways that you can creatively use the colors together. So I don't think it's going to overly scream patriotic once we get all the elements going. So let's just kind of use this. All right, and then let's see. And hello, Nora. I hope you're having a wonderful evening. And Teresa, you commented a little bit ago and I missed it. I'm so sorry. Hello, Teresa. Hope you're having a great night. Thanks for stopping by, both of you. All right, so I've got my background. Let's pull it up a little bit, and just so you can get a little bit of a better look at it. It's a little warped, a little wet. So I am going to set this aside to dry for a little bit of time, and we're going to come back to it later, and we're going to jazz. And do I want to add a little bit more? I want to add just a little bit more. A bit more of the, ooh, that's fun. A little bit more of the Salty Ocean. All right, we're going to do that. And then I'll just take off some of the excess. That darn piece of confetti is back. No, no, no. We're folding that in. All right, so I am going to set this aside to dry. The reason I'm going to set it aside, and I'm not going to use a dryer or like a heat tool with it, I have found that with your backgrounds, if you put a heat tool to it, it actually, it does not keep the colors as vibrant as I would like them. I feel like it dries the colors and mutes them out. It washes them up a little bit, and I don't want that. So I'm setting it aside to dry. I'm going to hope that by the time that we need that background piece, it is fully dry. However, I did prepare in advance. I prepared a background piece to use just in case. I'm going to really quickly run and grab my precision glue press because I'm going to need it in a second. And here we go. All right, sorry about that. Every Facebook Live, no matter, I always give myself a good hour to prepare, and I always forget one or two things. What did I spray with? This is my Distress sprayer. These have been around for a while. It's a Distress product. So it's just water, and it's a nice little spray tool that I use. And honestly, what I also use this for is just when I want to clean up my workspace too. It's a great just little spray bottle. So all right, so we're gonna wipe that clean and take a quick water break. All right. There we go. Okie dokie. Let's do some ink blending. So I'm gonna get my die cuts out and we're gonna start with our apple. Now I know that these dies do come across as caramel, like you're like, oh, caramel apples, of course. If we're staying true to the fandom, these apples I would say are a little bit more chocolate than they would be caramel, so we're gonna follow that as a motif. So I'm gonna go in, we're gonna use some ground espresso, distress ink. We're using distress ink, not oxide inks. I don't know why that one got stuck. I'm gonna use some mini blending tools and we're just gonna go in and we're gonna distress the edges. Now the truth is with this, we're only really gonna see the top third of this die. So I don't really have to do too much ink blending down the sides. I was also finding that I don't have a lot of good brown cardstock, so I might need to add some to my stash. So we're just going in. Distressing as much as possible around the ear. Just like this. All right. And I like how that ground espresso blends into this brown cardstock. It definitely gives it a little bit more of a chocolatey flavor. Oh my God, look, is this... I'm not eating my paper, I promise y'all. All right, so I've got that set off to the side. Let me just quickly wipe up. And then we're gonna move on to, let's do the body. So like I said, this portion comes with the just the regular mouse apple die set. What brush do you like to use for blending this way? Really good question, Teresa. Teresa's seen me in person. And I think that I've said before, I jump all over the place when it comes to blending brushes. The amount of blending brushes that I own, y'all, and I keep them all. I have like no desire to go through and like whittle down my supply. For die cuts, what I have really been enjoying lately is these are from Altenew and they're just their mini blending brushes. They're really just, how much, they're probably like half of an inch, I would say. And they're just really nice to hold in your hand. They're about this, excuse me. They're not too much different in size than like maybe a Copic marker, except these have I would say like a round barrel. And they hold really nicely. I haven't had any quality issues with them at all. Really enjoy these. So I like to do brushes like this when it comes to ink blending with dye inks onto my die cuts. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it for like broad sort of backgrounds or broad stencil use, but they also work really nicely if you're dealing with stencils that have little detailed portions that you're trying to use different colors with. All right, next we're gonna pull in some lumberjack plaid. And off to the side, I've got the body of our little sorcerer mouse, and we're just gonna go in with this lumberjack plaid and darken it up. This is poppy cardstock from Concord and 9th. I love it. It's got just a tinge of orange to it. But like, that's what I would consider the difference of like poppy red and like just standard red, is that poppy's got that little bit of orange to it. And I think it works really well for this color that we need it for, because I'm blending it in with a darker red-violet color, because lumberjack plaid also has got a little bit of violet in it, so I think it plays off each other nicely. I feel like the dark red-violet of the lumberjack plaid and the very slight red-orangeness of the poppy sort of just makes this a good standard red blend. It gives you kind of multiple variations of the red color. So I'm just going in I also debated starting just with white cardstock and coloring it up entirely with ink. One, I decided that I thought it would look better if I used colored cardstocks. And two, that would take a lot of time. And I think that one of the best shortcuts that I don't actually consider a shortcut, because I think a lot of times it looks better, is I like to ink blend colored cardstock because I think that it looks just more true to color sometimes. Sometimes when you fully ink blend a paper, there are some imperfections, I feel. And I think that this is a great way to not have to deal with those. All right, so we've got our little red body taken care of. So we're gonna put our lumberjack plaid off to the side. Clean our space a little bit. Oh, Teresa, you are so welcome. Oh, Nicole, you asked what did you spray color with, not water. Oh my gosh, I'm a fool. So colors were sprayed with distress spray stains. So the distress, you can get the distress spray stain or the oxides. The oxides are going to be more like the oxide inks, and they're going to have qualities that are going to be a little bit more opaque, and they're going to sit on top of your paper. These are more dye-based and watery, so they're going to really interact with one another. They're going to dye the paper. They're going to also give you some more vibrant colors. Truthfully, I know that a lot of people use the oxide sprays and the spray stains together, and maybe we'll do that together for a future live. I just own a lot more of the distress sprays than I do the oxide sprays, so I often just combine these. You can do some really, really, really fun effects with these. These are a great item to grab if you are getting, because you can find these at, gosh, at nowadays, what little big box stores are left. But you can sometimes grab these on sale at some big box retailers, or they're like individually. They're not super expensive. I want to say they're $3.99. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they're $5.99. Regardless, it's really easy to be making a purchase and sneak one or two of them into your cart and just slowly build your collection. And I recommend starting with like a rainbow palette to begin with. So get like 6 or 7 colors to get your core colors. But you could also be really smart with this. You can get a red, a yellow, and a blue and get a whole rainbow out of them because of how these colors interact. So, and then you can also, like I said, use them with oxides. You can use them with the mica sprays. They work really nicely. So sorry, I went into a little bit of a off-tangent topic with that, but I think that those are the fun parts of lives, are sort of the impromptu talking and sharing about what products we enjoy using and why. So next I'm going to go in, this is prize ribbon. I don't know if you guys noticed, I'm actually using a new glass mat. This is still from the same manufacturer that I've always used, but instead of white, it's gray. And I think I like it more. I didn't get rid of my whiteboard. I just moved it over to my non-Facebook Live desk. So, I don't know, I just think it works better with video and recording purposes. All right, so we've got the base of our sorcerer's hat, and I don't have too much left that we've got to ink blend. I'm just going to do a little bit with the, like, his belt, I guess we would call it, but his belt is made of rope. So I've got these 2 bits to go. Let's see, I've got brown, and I've got some, I was going to do brushed corduroy, and I'm hoping it's not too light. I'm not going to do that much with it, though. So I'm just going to kind of color in the edge. All right, so we've got that, and then I'm just going to kind of go in. Just kind of go around the bow, just to give it a little bit of variation. All right, perfect. So we've got all of our elements. I'm debating whether or not I want to add a little bit to the stick. I don't know. I probably should if I'm ink blending everything. I decided on a white stick because I thought that it would definitely stand out well enough. So let's see. What do we want to do? Let's clean up first because white's the easiest color to cross-contaminate. And then we're going to go in. Oh, I'm just going to grab Lost Shadow. I just dumped all of my blending brushes. My goodness. That's okay. They're not in the space that they should be anyways. I brought it upon myself. So we're going to go in. We're going to use some Lost Shadow. Just sort of bring that up a little bit just to give it a little bit of that shadowing. Awesome. All right, now we can work on putting everything together. And I've got my... Gonna make sure that my glue gun is good to go. Yep, we're good to go there. And then, so we're gonna go in, we're gonna put our hat together. Actually, I see a little bit of Lost Shadow. The color of my board is basically Lost Shadow, so I gotta make sure to get that ink up. So I'm gonna go in. Also, as a friendly reminder, keep an eye on the fan club later this week. Our live release event will begin this weekend, and you'll get 4 days of sneaks and peeks, all heading your way very soon. So I know the design team is cooking up some really fun projects for y'all. There's some really fun stamp sets coming out. I think mine is Tuesday. Actually, I do think I'm the only one working on my set, but they're all fun. They're always fun. All right, so I've got this glued down. Let's go in and let's glue down the base of this outfit. So the reason I had to cancel my Facebook, not cancel, reschedule, I had accidentally put this upcoming Saturday as my Facebook Live, and we always go out of town for Easter weekend to visit my in-laws. So we always do Easter down there. So we kind of have to make a weekend event out of it, which is, I enjoy it actually. My in-laws, we go out to like an Easter brunch, and then one of my husband's cousins, or even sometimes my sister-in-law, will host a dessert bar back at their house, and everyone is just supposed to bring a dessert with. And everyone brings something different, and it's just really fun. So I enjoy that. There's also a bunch of kids in the family too, so they all have fun. They usually do some form of an Easter egg hunt, which is cute too because only one of them is like under the age of 6, but they all still get like excited and have fun doing an Easter egg hunt. So I'm like, it's fun to watch. All right, so we've got the belt, so we're gonna put the belt down, and then we're gonna do the little bow in the center. All right. Just kind of get that as centered as I can. Hello, flower. Thanks so much. I agree. I think it's really fun when you ink blend them. I think it gives them a really nice, just little feel to them. Excuse me. All right, so I am going to kind of creatively place where I want to put the hat. I could put it really high up. I wanted to drop it down just a little bit. So we're going to put some glue. I know I'm a little off camera right now. So we're going to go in and just kind of drop it down just a tad. Just a tad, drop it down. And I'm trying to figure out more. I think I'm going to put the stick more like that, but is that too, that just looks like it doesn't even exist? I don't know. I want it to be enough up that it's noticeable. So we're going to try and get it nice and centered. Truth is, I'm kind of seeing now that I probably didn't have to put that much ink behind it. That's okay. All right, so we're going to go in. How tall is this? It's a little, about 5 inches. All right. So we've got our little apple. So I think this is super cute. And also, I can never give it away, but you never know what's going on behind the scenes of Kindred Stamps, so you might see other variations of an apple show up at some point in the future. You never know. So I've got this all ready to go. We'll put it in my little carrier. Let's see if our background that we worked on is dry. It's not. So this is the background that we created together. And I don't, oh my gosh, you know what this is? I see a bunch of little marks on the side, and I'm like, what is that? It's when I try to put that freaking little sequin and pull it off using the tip of my, oh my goodness. That irks me. But anyways, so I do have a dried piece that I can use instead that I prepared in advance. So we're going to get this together. I do want to do a little bit of die cutting work as well. So I actually would like to do the die cutting first. So let's get some of that ready. I've got 2 dies that I'm pulling in, and they are going to be, one is 3 3/3 inch by 5 inch, and then the other one is going to be 3 7/8 inch by 5 1/8 inch. And the reason I'm using these is they're part of a set and they work really nicely to make like a frame. So we're going to utilize these. I just came across the other day that I forgot I bought this set, and this is like my second time using it in the past couple days. So I am really much enjoying that. So we're going to die cut this out. I need to, excuse me, grab a little bit of tape. Let's see. I also love that we mixed reds and blues together, and it's not giving me like overwhelmingly purple vibes, so that's always nice. Always nice. All right, so I got that, and then I'm gonna take some glitter cardstock. I think I'm gonna go with silver. What do you guys think? I just think this gold is too yellow. I was gonna do gold to frame around it, but I think I'm gonna do just silver. I think it's just a little bit more clean with this. So I think we're gonna do silver. Make sure I'm not missing something. No, that's the color I want to use. So I'm gonna do the silver. The gold is just a little too yellow for me. Listen, some comments. Let's see. Teresa says, inking the edges is next level. Gonna try that technique for sure. Kathy says no gold. I agree. I think we're gonna just stick with the silver. So I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna tack these down. I gotta be careful too with it. I love this glitter paper. This glitter paper is from scrapbook.com. There's just there's 2 things about it I've always got to be careful with. First is I always have to be careful that the surface is sometimes it's a little, it's not easy to put tape onto. And I also sometimes have to die cut it a couple times because the paper has a quality to it that it doesn't always die cut the best. So it does if you use like a precision plate. I don't like to do that if I don't have to. So I have found that if I use it with a cutting plate that's plastic, because usually I use a magic mat, it helps cut it a little better. So I'm gonna go in, get this trimmed down. And then let's flip it and then put it through the other way. All right. Cool. Put that off to the side. See how I cut it and it's like, it's still in the paper. So I gotta kind of go in and like pull it apart, which is not a problem. Just got to do it. So I got that. All right, set that off to the side. And then also I can die cut my background. always try to make sure I die cut on the same cut panel because I don't want to make too many unnecessary indentations. Let's go in. Take a water break after this. And then actually we're also going to do a little bit of paper splattering. So we get that going. So my thought is we're going to do some fun layering, and it's going to give some nice paperweight going on as well. I'll show you what I mean by that in a second. So we are going to go in. I'm going to show you kind of the gist of my background. It's going to be, so I've got that red poppy paper, but then we're going to layer these on top of each other. So it's going to kind of give just a, do we like that? The red. And then, yeah, I like that. I think that that's good. I mean, I could try it with a blue. Let's see if there's a scrap piece of blue that we could just test with. I don't know if I do. Let's test that out. So I could do it with red, or I could do it with blue. I don't know, I'm just thinking the red. I think it's, the blue looks nice too. They both look nice. They're both good colors. They're just kind of easy. I don't have to commit yet. Let's see how I feel in 5-10 minutes. All right, let's just double test one more time. I like both of them. I think it's probably going to end up being the blue now that I'm looking at the thing, but we'll come back to it. What I'm also going to want to do is, like I said, we're going to do a little bit of paper splattering. I have a couple paper splatters by Picket Fence Studio. So we're going to use some of these. And I am going to, this is opaque silver. And of course it's a little clogged. These are not easy droppers to clean either. Ooh. All right, so we've got the opaque silver. We're also going to do the opaque white. That one's a little bit more liquidy. Then I've got a clean brush. It's actually, I used it recently with something and it's got white on it, but that's okay. So I'm taking the white paper splatter and we're gonna splatter this on here. And then let's see, I need to clean off my brush, and we're gonna use it with the silver as well, and that's also gonna coordinate really nicely with the paper that we use to frame it. Kind of gives like a magical, mystical sort of idea. I also want to show you guys too something else that's really fun to do on these backgrounds, and that is if you are a paste lover, excuse me, you can use some of your favorite stencils and your favorite pastes together on top of these. I have a background that I was going to use for one of my projects for this release that I ended up not using, and I don't think it really gives anything away. I don't know. Maybe if you think hard enough, it does, because I do know my color choices were somewhat intentional, but I think it's kind of it would be like a broad category. But you can use some fun pastes. I used the weave stencil with some translucent crackle paste on top of a background that had it's just some other sprays on them. I think this is like Candied Apple, Lumberjack Plaid, and Black Soot. And you can see just how nicely it sits on there. I know that the paper's got a little bit of warping going on, but you can adhere it down. It'll work really nicely. And I love how the translucent paste allows the color to go through the paste, but still get the texture from the paste and the stencil work. So something really fun to keep in mind. Well, thank you, Amy, and thank you, Flower, for saying that it's cute. I agree with y'all. So let's go in now. Let's do some, I'm gonna put away these dies so I don't lose them. And then we're gonna do a little bit of heat embossing. I want to talk to you for a second about heat embossing. And my first thing that I'm going to say is I had to pick a sentiment. And I kind of struggled because the sentiment I really wanted, y'all know if you've been in one of my Facebook Lives before that one of the things I try my absolute best is using product that are currently available in the store. So that means like even if it's listed in the store, it's got to be in stock. So I got real excited. I came across the Broomhaha set, and there's a sentiment in there that says, "Be the magic." And I was like, oh my God, that's exactly what I want. How perfect. It was sold out, so I couldn't use it. I was like, that was like the perfect stencil. I also know that there was once upon a time we used to have the magical word die, and I thought that just using the word magical would also be really appropriate for this card. But I found something else that I think works just as well. So we're gonna use, I've never used this stamp set. I actually think I'm going to use this stamp set for my Facebook Live later in the month, now that I pulled it out. I'm using the Casita Familia stamp set, and I really like the sentiment that says there's magic inside of you. So I'm going to heat emboss this and fussy cut it out. We're going to do it onto some blue paper. So let's get that going. But yeah, I think that, spoiler alert, I think I'm going to do something with this stamp set for my next Facebook Live. I really want to color up this house. I really do. If you are into theme parks the way that I am, or even remotely like I am, because I would not expect a lot of people to be like I am with it, this house is getting brought to life and should be opening in about 2 years in Florida. And I am so excited because I just adore this fandom. One of my favorites, and what I also love about it, so I was always a Disney kid. My husband was not. He has, I don't want to say come around, but he has learned to love it because he knows how much I love it. And I think he's enjoyed it himself too. But I also saw with this was one of the first, this one and the one that has a bunch of animals living in a city were probably two of the movies that I've seen with, these types of fandom that I really have seen him enjoy. And so I know he is just as excited like I am with this. I don't love that embossing tool, but it was more readily available. Okay, so we're gonna push that down. And then we're gonna use, I've got my embossing ink pad. So I think these are also on sale right now for like $1.99. So if you need one, grab one. One thing that you want to take into account when you're doing your heat embossing is pay attention to what papers absorb your ink the quickest, because like this one, some of my colored cardstocks really absorb my embossing ink quick, and you want to kind of move fast because you don't want the ink to dry before you have a chance, before it latches onto your embossing powders. So I'm just gonna tap off the excess. I'm also trying to, I'm off camera, and there's a little speck that I would like to brush off. And I think I did it. So we're gonna put the excess away, do a little bit of heat embossing. All right, there we go. Where's the lid? Oh, it's under here. All right, and this is Snowfall embossing powder, my go-to white. I use even outside of my Kindred projects. So we're gonna use my embossing gun. We're gonna get this all nicely embossed. right. While I'm cleaning up, let's talk a little bit more about embossing powders and paper choice. I definitely would recommend, if you're getting new papers that you're wanting to heat emboss on, excuse me, I would recommend doing some testing with your embossing just to see how the paper is going to react to it. I have this gorgeous, thick black cardstock that I absolutely love, but every once in a while, if I heat emboss and if my heat embossed areas aren't like large enough, the heat embossing will actually like fleck off. I'm also looking right now with this. I've stained the top of this, and it's fine. It still works fine. It just kills me because I don't like stains if I can avoid them. And I was going to try and clean it off with something, but I'm afraid it's going to take the grit off because it's a little bit of a heavier duty cleaner, and we don't want that. So, anyways, Casita Familia is going away, but spoiler alert, I'm about 99% certain we're going to use this for our next Facebook Live later in the month. But just be warned of the different papers if you're introducing a new paper, because you don't want to have any surprises. So let's do a little bit of fussy cutting. Realistically, after this, I think we're going to be ready to pull everything together. So we're going to go in, just kind of cut around each of the letters. And I like to fussy cut my sentiments, especially if they're large enough, because I just think it gives them like a nice little extra flourish that you might not get if you were to just pop it on a sentiment strip or even just put it directly onto the card itself. I also got a really fun sentiment with this, and I could have used the new Adeline alphabet set, a die set. I thought just Be the Magic would have been really sweet to use with this. All right, so we're almost there. There we go. There's magic inside of you. Okie dokie. So let's get everything adhered together. So we've got our sentiment. Let's check comments. All right. Water break. This dry? It did. Okay. If anyone's got any questions, just let me know. Using liquid adhesive. All right, let's go ahead and pop that on. You get that nice little frame. Oh, Philly, why does it? I hate when I have too much glue on. Oh, it's okay. It's okay. All right. Make sure these are the same size. The blue is slightly bigger. Maybe I can trim it. Sure. All right, I think I got it. And let's go ahead and adhere this to our background panel. Hopefully not putting too much glue, but putting enough that it sticks nicely. nicely into place. Kind of shuffle it around a little bit. You could also take this panel instead of using blue and just adhere it directly to your card base. I just thought that with the white or with the silver, it would kind of not really do well on a white card base. All right. So let's see. I think I want to do it like that. We're going to put some foam tape behind it. And then I think we're going to do, where do we want to put the sentiment? Let's see, kind of have it like that. I think that would be perfect. So we're gonna do a little bit of overlap. We'll do that later. Okay, so we're gonna grab some foam tape. These are some foam strips that I have on hand. These are from scrapbook.com. They're already trimmed down to 1/8 of an inch strips. So they fit into some really small spaces, which is always helpful. All right, so I'm gonna trim this off and then just kind of add a little bit more. Get it all nicely put in. Let's do another strip. I don't know. Some people think that there's such a thing as too much foam tape, and I say as long as it's not coming out from behind the image, you use however much or however little you want. Because most likely, who's paying for it? Not them. All right, let's see. So I've got that. Have that in the center. I mean, I could also just kind of offset it like that. That's actually, I like that. So we're gonna do it like that. I don't need it in the dead center. You need to watch me take all of my foam tape off, all the backing off. Put my little foam strips away, a little backing, but we need to do a little bit more foam tape. We're gonna do it behind our sentiment. And then we're gonna do our sentiment right there. Sure, that looks good. Awesome. And then I have some silver embellishments I want to use. Where did they go? But we're gonna put it on a card base first. Oh, thank you so much, Kathy. I think it turned out really cute too. If I'm allowed to have that opinion, you know. I think you're always allowed to say if one of your cards turned out well or something. Be proud of what you make, you know? Alright, so we're gonna go in. What size is that card? This is an A2 sized card. So 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I also think that the background gives a little bit of a celestial vibe, which I think is appropriate given the stars and the moon on the hat. So, I don't know. All right, where did I put my embellishments? I did have some that I brought over here. And now they're escaping me. Here they are. So I have some silver holographic embellishments. See, and it's celestial. It's not initially patriotic. All right, so we're gonna go in. Just kind of these little holographic discs have like a matte side and a shiny side to them. So I always try to make sure that the matte side is the one that's getting adhered down. So that way you get to see the shiny side. I think I don't have any of the big ones. Let's see, here we go. Here's a big one. Do a little one right there. Gosh darn it, Justin. So close. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's do more there. Right there. All right, and I think that does it tonight. All right, y'all. So let me clean up my desk just a little bit. Go over what we made tonight. And yay, I think it turned out really, really fun. I need like one more there. I don't really want to. There's enough going on. I try to work in odd numbers for embellishments. So, all right, so let's push everything a little bit off to the side. Talk about what we made. All right, so today's card, we used the Mouse Apple die set, and we also used the Mouse Apple Halloween add-on. And don't forget that Halloween add-on, you can make so much more than just a sorcerer mouse. You can make, there's a witch, there is, like, you can make a skeleton or like a sugar skull, and you can also make a pumpkin. So you have lots of options, but we went with the option that allowed us to make this cute little wizard mouse. We put everything together. We also made a background by combining Salty Ocean and Candied Apple Distress spray stains, which I think turned out really fun. It's, like I said, really celestial as well, pulls in the vibes from the star and moon cap. In addition to that, the splattery background really sort of amped up that celestial vibe with it. We did a little bit of creative die cutting in order to make this fun little frame around our card. And then after we adhered everything together, we also used the Casita Familia stamp set for our sentiment that says there's magic inside of you, which I think just really works well with this card. Adhered everything together, put on some really fun embellishments, and we've got a really cute little card to pop in the mail to a friend. Something cute for embellishment or for encouragement. Also, you may have a friend that's going to visit this mouse sometime soon, and this would be a really fun card for them to receive either right before their trip or even when they get home to give them a little bit of recovery from those vacation blues. But thank you all so very much. I'm going to be back later on this month. I want to say on the 29th, so 2 Tuesdays from now. But I could also be wrong. And I promise I will announce my next Facebook Live. Plan on working with the Casita Familia stamp set. I think that's what we'll be doing, probably a little bit of coloring with it. I don't know if it's going to be a scene card yet, but I'm sure we'll come up with something super fun and magical. If you guys have any questions, you can always let me know. You can post in the fan club, tag me, comment on this video. Do remember, Facebook has changed their policies with Facebook Lives, and due to storage purposes, they're no longer going to be storing Facebook Live videos on Facebook past, like, I think they said 30 days. It might be 60, plan for 30 though, just in case. So as I've been doing, I will make sure to get this Facebook Live uploaded to my YouTube channel, and I'll get you guys the link for that as well. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, have a wonderful rest of your Tuesday night. Happy crafting, and I can't wait to craft with you later on in the month. Have a great day, everyone. Thanks, everyone, for stopping by. Goodbye.